This is a video for anyone working with a brand who is being paid for by the brand or is doing some kind of promotional work with them as an influencer, whatever shape or size you are of influencer, and also for brands, businesses that are looking to work with influencers, so that you can get this sort of stuff right. And this has been sort of prompted by me seeing lots of influencers, maybe they're new to it, I don't know, but lots of people who are being paid for by brands, whether that's being paid for in cash money, whether it's being gifted content, whether there's just some kind of commercial arrangement. I'm seeing too many people get it wrong. I'm also seeing some brands not advise influencers correctly, and actually some brands telling influencers, no, do it this way, to try and skirt around some of the algorithms in terms of how they spot content and what they then show or don't show. But the rules are really clear. It's really not that difficult to get it right. And the sort of abridged version of this is that it's all about transparency. As somebody creating the content, the person who sees that content, your audience, has to be able to understand really quickly that there is a commercial relationship between the influencer and the brand. And what that means is it can't be hidden, it can't be sort of tucked away or disguised as something else. It has to be really clear. So we are talking using the word ad at the beginning of a post, sometimes it having to be on the screen, sometimes having to say it out loud, but not gifted, not sponsored. All of that kind of stuff that gets around it is not acceptable. It goes against all the regulations. Now, there are slightly different rules in different territories, but a lot of them are similar enough that you can just stick to one rule and you will pretty much be covered. So I've looked at rules and regulations around 4 key areas. That's the UK, which is obviously where I'm from, the US, Canada and Australia, just as 4 key English-speaking markets. The same will be true, one suspects, of the EU, because certainly from a UK perspective, a lot of what we do in the UK is very similar to what is in the EU. So let me just give you a quick summary of those 4 markets, and then I'm going to show you where that is on the various documentation from the authorities. And the reason why you've got to get it right is that these rules exist. And we know that people have been fined for getting this wrong. So this is just in your interest to get right. So in the UK, the law is from the ASA and the CAP and also the CMA. And here's the short version of this. Influencers must make marketing content instantly and obviously recognizable as an advert using explicit labels such as ad, advert, or paid partnership at the very beginning of the post. Platform tools should be used, but tagging a brand using gifted or only putting notices in a bio are not enough. Hashtag AF is inadequate for an affiliate. It's got to be ad or hashtag ad is required. So I hope you got that. Ad at the beginning, no gifted, no sponsored, no affiliate, hashtag ad or ad at the start. In the US, it's the FTC guidelines. This was quite an interesting read. Any material connection, payment, gifted, personal or family relationship with a brand must be clearly and conspicuously disclosed. So they recommend using ad. They do allow sponsored or some form of simple explainer in the text, such as thank you to the brand for this free product, but disclosures have to be upfront, not hidden in hashtags or under more. And that more thing is really important, because if you don't put it at the front on a social media post, someone's got to click more in order to do that. The FTC can fine influencers and the brand for non-compliance, and there may be state laws as well. In Canada, it's the Competition Act or the Canadian Code of Advertising Standards, and they say any material connection, paid, gifted or otherwise, must be clearly disclosed at the start of content for videos. Both verbal and text disclosure are preferred. Avoid ambiguous or hidden disclosures. Again, not under See More. And in Australia, it's the Australian Consumer Law and the AANA Code of Ethics. Influencers must clearly and prominently disclose any paid partnership, sponsorship, or gift. Hashtags such as ad, advert, or paid partnerships are recommended and must be obvious and not buried. Ambiguous tags like SP or gifted are not enough. So, of all the 4 territories we've discussed there, they're all saying the same thing. They're saying it's got to be ad, it's got to be upfront at the beginning. It can't be hidden away. Now, I'm going to just sort of, that's the version. If you want to like leave at this point, then that's fine. You understand what we're doing here. But I want to actually just show you the actual documentation of where this is. So you can see it's not just me making it up or reading it from a summary or whatever. I'm trying to be as helpful as possible here. So this is the ASA's Influencers Guide to Making Clear that ads are ads. And this is a really useful document which you can just basically go through and understand what the rules are. So we're not going to go through each of this. It describes what is paid for, what's classed as affiliate marketing, what counts as an ad. And you can see anything that is paid for, including freebies, doesn't have to be money, are classed as an ad. And anything where there's some form of editorial control by the brand is an ad. All right. So again, you can kind of read all of this and basically it will tell you, where it must be obviously identifiable as such. And somewhere in this document, here we go, I think it's on this page here, hashtag ad, it's got to be obvious. Any label you use to highlight the ad needs to be upfront before people click or engage. Prominent so people notice it. Appropriate for the channel and suitable for all devices needs to be clear on mobile too. So ad, advert, advertising, advertisement. Of course, this is applying to every single format that exists. They do not want sponsorship, sponsored, spawn, or all right. So it has to be obvious. If we go to the FTC, the US guidelines, really helpful document here. I only really discovered this the other day, thanks to a brand that I am working with. You have to disclose any financial, employment, or family relationship with a brand, not limited to money. If a brand gives you free products, then you've got to disclose it. And this is the interesting thing with the FTC. If posting from abroad, US law applies if it's reasonably foreseeable that the post will affect US consumers. So in essence, and again, this can apply to everybody, if you're creating some kind of influencer content and it's likely to be seen in the US, you need to comply with FTC regulations. And of course, social media is worldwide. So it is really helpful that all 4 of these territories that we're talking about today are saying the same thing. Ad, upfront, at the beginning. Say it in the video. Make it really, really clear. And you can see how to disclose here. Place it so it's hard to miss. It should be placed with the endorsement message itself. It can't be in the about me. Don't mix disclosures, etc., etc. So, you can say thanks to this brand for this product, but it's got to be there. It's got to be at the beginning. On the Australian AANA, hard to say, Code of Ethics, advertising is any advertising, marketing, or communication which is published, broadcast on any medium or any activity which is undertaken on or behalf of an advertiser or marketer. So they define what is classed as an ad. It's the same thing. And here's the Canadian regulations here, the influencer marketing disclosure guidelines. Again, go and look them up. I will put a link so that you can go and read these, where this will actually go through the same thing. It does not want disguise technique, accuracy and clarity. It's consistent. There's a lot of do's and don'ts here. Upfront is best. When in doubt, spell it out. They are meant to provide transparency and honesty for all viewers of the sponsored post. All right. So you're getting the gist by now of what we're talking about when we're thinking about this type of content. So and this is a reminder, if you are working with a brand, it is your responsibility to get this right. The brand in some territories can also be fined, but it is your responsibility if you're taking any kind of money or there's any kind of commercial relationships. The best thing to do is to be broad enough that it covers multiple territories around the world. So really, you've got to be putting the word ad at the beginning of any post. If it contains a visual, it needs to be in the visual. Gifted is not acceptable. Sponsored is not acceptable. Don't put those. Make it really clear up front so that the person watching it understands what the commercial relationship is. If you get it right, you're going to be covered. Hope that was helpful. Everyone, we need to do better. So let's start now. If you've got any questions, drop me a message.